Good afternoon and welcome to the National Capital Planning Commission's September 4th, 2025 open session. Our secretary is unfortunately unable to join us in person today. Megan, if you're listening, we all hope that you feel better soon because we desperately need you here. In the meantime, though, Acting Secretary Sullivan, would you like to take the roll call?
Yes, I would. Commissioner Cozart. Here. Commissioner Schaefer.
Here.
Commissioner Stidham.
Here.
Commissioner Argo.
Here.
Vice Chair Levenbach.
Here.
Chairman Scharf.
Here.
Commissioner Blair. Commissioner Tunstall-Williams.
Present.
Commissioner Dixon. Commissioner Cash. Commissioner Henderson.
Here.
Commissioner McGowan.
Present.
Marcella Costa, Executive Director, is also in the meeting.
Thank you, Madam Acting Secretary. Noting the presence of a quorum, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Today's meeting will be live streamed, and I believe it will be available on the NCPC website in the normal course. And if there's no objection, the agenda as posted is adopted as the order of business. I think the next item would be the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for
which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next item on our agenda is a vote to approve the 2026 meeting schedule. Meetings will be conducted every month except for August, as is normal for us. One thing I would note is that I believe it's our October meeting has been moved 1 week from its usual date to accommodate the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur. That's correct, Marcel, right? No other changes? Is there a motion to approve the Commission's 2026 meeting schedule?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there a second?
Second.
Can the Secretary please confirm the motion and the second and take the vote by roll call?
Yes, the motion was made by Commissioner Stidham and seconded by Commissioner Argo. With that, Commissioner Cozart?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Stidham?
Yes.
Commissioner Argo?
Yes.
Vice Chair Levenbach?
Yes.
Chairman Scharf?
Yes.
Chairman Blair? Commissioner Tunstall-Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Dixon? Commissioner Cash? Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Commissioner McGowan?
Yes.
Sounds like the motion has carried unanimously. So we now have an approved schedule for meetings going forward for the coming year. Agenda item 3 is the report of the chairman. This is my second meeting chairing this incredible commission. I wanted to start out, first of all, just by thanking the staff of the NCPC. It's been a really eye-opening couple months for me, really getting to learn the business of this commission. Marcel, Diane, Elizabeth Miller, really everybody here has just been incredibly helpful to me as I've tried to get my arms around the extremely important work that this commission does. And I'm just really excited for the months ahead, continuing to learn and continuing to getting really deep in the weeds of the important work that needs to be done in Washington, D.C., in the capital region. The president obviously has made his views on this issue clear. He believes that Washington, D.C. needs to be both safe and beautiful. Certainly with respect to the latter of those 2 points, this commission has very important work to do. And I think we're at a particularly important time in the history of Washington, D.C. We have projects that have the potential to be truly historic on the agenda in the coming months, projects that we'll likely be working on in the coming years. The Southwest Federal Center, the area south of the mall, obviously poses tremendous opportunities for both the long-term beautification and long-term development of Washington, D.C. Yesterday, we took a really actually incredible tour around South Capitol, seeing the work that needs to be done there to really make that entranceway, that gateway into Washington, D.C. Beautiful and in keeping with its important purpose. And then also the beautification of Pennsylvania Avenue, which I know is going to be a focus of ours in the lead up to America 250 in the lead up to the big events that we have planned in Washington, D.C. in the next couple of years. These are all very important projects, not to detract from any other items on our agenda today or in future months. And I, for one, am just very excited to get to be a part of it. It's truly an honor to be on this commission, to be working with the professional staff we have here, and to be carrying on the proud traditions of the NCPC, which has been such an important part historically of the development of this great city and of this great region. I do want to note, I do want to comment on two other important issues beyond that. At our last meeting, a number of commissioners made very pointed remarks with respect to the ongoing renovation of the Federal Reserve building. Commissioner Blair, Commissioner Levenbach, and myself, to an extent, we all agreed that there were real problems with the way that project has proceeded. And I think this requires more attention in particular today, because some of the statements made by the Federal Reserve in the lead up to and in the aftermath of our last commission meeting, I think absolutely require a response from this commission. The Federal Reserve posted on its website, for example, that the board, meaning the Federal Reserve Board, generally is not subject to direction from the NCPC on its building projects, and asserted quite stunningly that its previous submission of its building plans for approval to the NCPC constituted a voluntary collaboration only. Those statements are quite simply false. The National Capital Planning Act of 1952 could not be more clear. It and its predecessor statutes vest jurisdiction in this commission over federal buildings on federal property in this region. There are certain statutory exceptions to that. For example, the Capitol building, the Supreme Court building, the Library of Congress, all of which fall under the jurisdiction of the architect of the Capitol, do not fall within our jurisdiction. And Congress specifically excluded by statute Joint Base Anacostia Bowling from our commission's jurisdiction, although we continue to have a very productive relationship with the Department of Defense when it comes to renovations on that property or improvements on that property. With respect to the Fed itself, the Federal Reserve has in fact consistently recognized our jurisdiction over building projects on their land going back to 1935. They've appeared before this commission approximately 30 times, spanning every single building in their portfolio: Eccles, Martin, the Annex, 1951 Constitution Avenue. The Federal Reserve has never before, until quite recently, ever asserted that, I'm sorry, I'm hearing a bit of a feedback, has never before asserted that they somehow operate in a legal space outside of our jurisdiction. And I think it's really important to note the potential ramifications of this incredible assertion. Because the Federal Reserve is a federal entity, a quasi-federal entity, it does not fall within normal zoning for the District of Columbia. So if the NCPC were to not have jurisdiction over the Federal Reserve's building projects, what Chairman Powell and his team are effectively asserting is that the Federal Reserve can build whatever the heck it wants on its property. They could build an amusement park on their property, and no one would have any planning jurisdiction. No one would have any ability to really to note qualms with such a plan. With respect to their current building project, Chairman Blair and Chairman Levenbach at our last meeting noted that it is wildly over budget, that there are serious concerns with the way that the building has proceeded. But I would note that, importantly, from the perspective of this commission, there have been substantial changes to the project that this commission approved in 2021. And those substantial changes needed to come back before this commission before they became part of the building plan at the Federal Reserve's property. We have a process for that. That process could have been followed. The Federal Reserve chose to not follow that process. And until the Federal Reserve remedies that issue, I believe that they are in violation of their approved plan from this commission. And I think that this commission needs to have a vigorous response to that. Later today, I will be circulating to all commission members a letter that I plan to send to Chairman Powell and to the Federal Reserve, noting my severe concerns with both their assertion that they fall outside the jurisdiction of this commission, and also their assertion that what they're doing on their property did not need to come back before this commission. I'll obviously give other commissioners the opportunity to sign on to that letter if they so choose, but I think that going forward, we need to keep, as a commission, all options open, including legal options, if the Fed refuses to comply with what they need to do in order to bring their plans back into line with either what was previously approved or what could be approved if they're willing to resubmit in the future. I also want to address a number of issues that have been raised publicly about the White House ballroom project. The president has obviously announced that he plans to build a ballroom on White House grounds. This is something that many people have called for many years, given the lack of a large event space on White House grounds. There was a Washington Post article by Jonathan Edwards a short while ago that implied something. I couldn't quite figure out what the upshot of the article was, but either that there was a problem with the ballroom project itself, or that the National Capital Planning Commission should have been consulted or involved in this project earlier than it has been. It included a number of carefully selected quotes from former commissioners, and overall, the upshot of this article was that something was wrong with the ballroom project. I think that's a mischaracterization of this commission's role, and I think that article was deceiving. Other press reports have been similarly deceiving. It is, in fact, the case that this commission does not have jurisdiction. It has long denied that it has jurisdiction over demolition and site preparation work for federal buildings on federal property. What we deal with is essentially construction, vertical build. In that capacity, we have a longstanding relationship of working on projects on the White House grounds, working with the White House Preservation Commission, the National Park Service. Examples of this in the past include the Tennis Pavilion project approved during, I guess, the previous Trump administration, as well as fencing improvements more recently. I am excited that this commission will have, I believe, a productive role in this ballroom project. I think it's one of the most exciting construction projects in the modern history of the district. And I think any assertion that this commission should have been consulted earlier than it has been, or than it will be, is simply false and represents a misunderstanding of this commission's role in that project. When we are submitted a plan, we will review that plan when the time comes. I'm excited for those plans to come before this commission. And when they do, we will obviously work with the White House Preservation Commission, the National Park Service, and all relevant parties to make sure that it is as beautiful as it can be. I'd note that the NCPC has, in addition to having worked with the previous Trump administration on projects on White House grounds, also has a history of working well with President Trump himself, obviously in his private capacity as a builder. The National Capital Planning Commission reviewed a number of aspects of the old post office renovation, which really to me represents an incredible triumph for the preservation of historic architecture and the reuse of a historic building within the district. I know that the president thinks very highly of this commission, and I'm excited for us to play a role in the ballroom project when the time is appropriate for us to do so. With all that having been said, I apologize for going on a bit longer than I did at the last meeting. I had a little more time to prepare before this meeting than the last meeting. That concludes my chairman's report for today. I'm also, I should say, I'm very excited for the two projects we have before us today. I think it's going to be a very interesting commission meeting. And with that, I'll turn things over. The next item on our agenda is the report of the executive director, Marcel Acosta. Marcel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome Commissioner Henderson, representing Senator Paul, to the commission. This is his first meeting today, so please let us know if there's anything we can do, or if there are any questions that we can answer as part of your tenure here. I have one item of public interest. On July 15th, the American Planning Association's Federal Planning Division awarded NCPC the 2025 Outstanding Technical Planning Project Award in partnership with the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments for our workplace scenario planning study. This award recognizes the highest standards of quality amongst all submissions submitted. Congratulations to our project team, led by NCPC's Angela DuPont and Melissa Linshaw, along with our consultants, the Schreifer Group, HR&A Advisors, and Wells and Associates. You do have my written report in your packets, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Yeah. I'd like to just congratulate the commission again and staff for another one of many awards they've received for their great work.
I will say it's actually one of the most impressive things walking through headquarters here, seeing all of the various awards that this commission has won. It really does give a sense of the incredible history of the commission and the great work that it's done. So thank you for that, Commissioner. Anything else, Marcel?
That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Agenda item number 5 will then be, if there are no other questions or comments from commissioners, item number 5 will be the legislative update. That would normally be Megan's role. Megan, are you doing okay?
Yes, I don't have any specific legislation to report on to the commission this month, but I'm happy to answer questions on any pending legislation if that would be helpful.
Do any commissioners have questions about pending legislation? Hearing none and seeing none on the live feed. Thank you, Megan. And I'll just say again, we all hope you feel better soon. Agenda item number 6 is the consent calendar. This has been distributed to commissioners in advance of this meeting. There are 3 items on this month's consent calendar. The first is to authorize release of draft updates to the federal elements of the Comprehensive Plan Introduction Chapter for a 30-day public comment period in the Federal Register. This item largely relates to edits that were made in light of an executive order that revoked a previous executive order to which the previous language was responsive to. The second item on the calendar is to authorize release of draft submission guidelines for a 30-day public comment period in the Federal Register. And the final item is to approve comments on concept plans for a new telecommunications installation at Joint Base Anacostia Bowling. Are there any questions or discussion on the consent calendar from commissioners? Hearing none and seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion on any of these 3 items before we vote? Seeing none and hearing none, can the secretary please confirm the motion and the second and take the vote by roll call?
Yes, the motion was made by Vice Chair Levenbach and seconded by Commissioner Argo. And with that, Commissioner Cozart,
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Stidham,
Yes.
Commissioner Argo,
Yes.
Vice Chair Levenbach,
Yes.
Chairman Scharf,
Yes.
Commissioner Blair, Commissioner Tunstall Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Dixon,
Yes.
Commissioner Cash, not here, Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner McGowan.
Yes.
Thank you. This motion has carried. Moving on, we have 2 items on our open session agenda for today. The first item, this is agenda item 7A, is a request to approve comments on concept plans for the St. Elizabeth's West Campus Gate 6 garage and site development. And I believe Laura, take it away.
Thank you.
So I was just checking who was presenting. I apologize.
All right. Good afternoon, Chairman Scharf and Commissioners. The General Services Administration has submitted concept plans for the Gate 6 parking garage at the St. Elizabeth's West Campus Department of Homeland Security headquarters. As a reminder, at concept review stage, the Commission is focused on topics such as general consistency with NCPC policies, appropriateness of the project for the site, and identification of any complex issues. Generally, staff is supportive of the project's overall design approach. My presentation today will include a project overview, and then we'll focus on recommendations for site design, architecture, transportation, and landscape. The St. Elizabeth's West Campus is a 176-acre site located in Southeast Washington, D.C. The entire St. Elizabeth's Hospital campus is listed as a National Historic Landmark. This is an aerial of the West Campus, and north is to the left. The garage site is off of St. Elizabeth's Road Southeast and is bordered by I-295 and the Berry Farm housing development. The area has significant slopes, over 25%, and extensive construction fill. Also of note are the surrounding campus landscape areas, including the plateau, ravine, and woodland. These views give a sense of those three campus landscape types and site characteristics. Throughout its history, the garage site in particular has served a series of agricultural functions for crops, orchards, and wheat fields. Important historic buildings on the campus include the Center Building on the left that has been fully rehabilitated and serves as the offices for the Secretary of DHS, and on the right is the historic Administration Row that frames the south lawn. Also as context, other new construction projects on the campus include the Coast Guard headquarters, pictured on the top left, completed in 2013, the Center Building, West Addition, on the top right, completed in 2019, Building 1 on the bottom left, which is under construction, and Building 2 on the bottom right, which was reviewed by the Commission at concept level in 2024. The Commission has reviewed several iterations of the campus master plan since 2008, with the current amendment approved in October 2020. In February of 2024, the Commission reviewed concept plans for a Gate 1 parking garage that was included in the approved campus master plan. However, according to the applicant, the below-grade garage project was not financially feasible due to high costs resulting from the extent of excavation, shoring, and waterproofing necessary because of the high water table. The project team evaluated several alternative parking locations on the campus for capacity and compatibility, and with input from review agencies and Section 106 consulting parties, selected the Gate 6 site on the northwest corner of the campus. This location aligns with the master plan guidance to locate parking at the campus perimeter to preserve a pedestrian-oriented setting consistent with historic precedent. The site was originally master planned for a large warehouse, which will be built along with additional parking in the second phase of the project. The project's second phase will be reviewed by the Commission at a later date. The purpose of developing the proposed garage is to meet the parking needs of the growing number of employees assigned to the consolidated DHS campus, particularly with Building 1 under construction. The master plan anticipates 4,448 parking spaces at build-out to align with the established parking ratio of 1 parking space for every 4 standard employees and 1 parking space for every 3 shift employees. These parking ratios are guided by policies in the comprehensive plan transportation element. Of the total allowable parking spaces, almost 2,000 have been built at the existing Gate 4 garage. The proposed Gate 6 garage and surface parking lot in Phase 1 will include 1,250 employee parking spaces, which is within the master plan allowable number. The remaining parking spaces are planned to be provided in Phase 2 of the Gate 6 garage development and additional projects on the West Campus. Now we will take a look at the site design approach. The first phase of the garage will be 5 levels with an interim gravel surface parking lot surrounded by new trees for screening. The second phase is planned to locate the warehouse and additional garage parking on the surface lot. The proposed garage will not be immediately adjacent to existing historic structures. However, it is within the viewshed of the Center Building and the Point, a historic lookout with panoramic views of the Anacostia River and the district beyond. Additionally, the Berry Farm neighborhood borders the northern edge of the campus to the left of this slide. The District Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development has initiated a major redevelopment of this area, which will include over 1,000 residential units. This is an east-west site section showing the design approach to build the garage into the hillside. In alignment with the master plan concept for development at this site, the proposed design aims to balance preservation of the viewshed from the Point while screening the new garage construction below. Here is the view from the Point towards the screened garage and regional views across the river. As shown in this north-south site section, the proposed garage will be sited approximately 70 feet from the north property line, and this edge will include vegetation to screen views of the parking lot and garage from Berry Farm. This is a rendered view from the future Berry Farm development towards the garage. The project team plans for the north edge of the property to include a mix of evergreen and deciduous trees installed in layers to create enough density to screen views into the parking lot. Car headlights in the garage will also be shielded by metal screens and concrete panels, and mechanical exhaust systems will be designed to avoid introducing significant noise and negatively impacting the development. The comprehensive plan includes Federal Workplace Policy B-15, which notes that the federal government should plan federal workplaces to be compatible with the character of surrounding public space, properties, and community. As such, staff recommends continued study of strategies to minimize the potential impacts to the adjacent Berry Farm development as the design is developed. In terms of circulation, a new entry gate off of the St. Elizabeth Road Southeast will give employees access to the proposed garage. All trucks will continue to access the campus at Gate 6, and all visitors will continue to access the campus at Gate 4, farther to the south. An on-campus shuttle will then take screened employees to their destinations. However, no pedestrian pathways are proposed connecting the parking garage to the rest of the campus in this phase, because the steep elevation change between the garage site and the plateau is difficult to make accessible. The second phase of the garage is anticipated to include an accessible pedestrian pathway connecting from a screening building on the roof of the garage. Where feasible, options for pedestrians should be further studied to meet master plan goals of creating a pedestrian-oriented campus. Staff recommends the applicant explore opportunities for safe pedestrian connections from the garage to campus buildings on the plateau in the first phase. Possible strategies may include a sidewalk along Sweet Gum Lane. Naturally occurring higher elevations encircle Washington, D.C., forming what is known as the topographic bowl. The St. Elizabeth's campus is located along the southeastern ridge of the bowl, with several important regional views looking towards the campus from across the Anacostia River. Here is a regional view from the Frederick Douglass Bridge. The garage will be partially visible from this location, though vegetative screening is intended to further minimize visibility from regional vantage points. And the garage will be mostly obscured from this view from Haynes Point. We will now focus on the garage building design. As noted earlier, the site has served a series of agricultural functions over time. The design concept reflects the visual qualities of the orchard in the use of vertical fins to allow for visual screening. Each of the garage levels is approximately 11 feet in height, and the fifth level is open to the sky. The west facade is approximately 500 feet in length. The facade design pulls from the existing campus material palette and color tones to remain contextually compatible with both the historic and more recently completed campus buildings. This is a view of the west facade from 295, where the garage will be partially obscured by vegetation. The facade fins are modulated to create visual interest. This modulation, along with breaks in the facade for horizontal planters and planted mesh panels, succeed in reducing the perceived scale of the garage. However, the vertical fin locations as they wrap the corner stair tower appear unresolved. Staff recommends that as the design is developed, the applicant consider further refinement of the corner conditions to allow for a more unified design. The design team has begun to explore ways to limit the garage's lighting impact. Lighting throughout the site is planned to be dark sky compliant, which should reduce any light or glare shining into Berry Farm and the surroundings. The vertical fins may also decrease the glow of lighting interior to the garage. In accordance with Federal Workplace Policy B-15 previously mentioned, as the design is developed, staff recommends the overall lighting strategy ensure the direction and intensity of the lighting will not disturb adjacent residential uses. Now we will turn to transportation issues. Once an alternate site was selected for the garage at Gate 6, the applicant drafted an updated Transportation Management Program report and conducted additional traffic and transportation analysis to understand the impact of the proposed parking garage project on the overall network and to foster more efficient employee commuting patterns. The TMP goals are to comply with master plan requirements, reduce the impact on the local and regional network, encourage and increase usage of other modes of travel, and promote the health and well-being of DHS employees. Staff recommends the Commission support DHS efforts to date to make progress on achieving the goals of the 2020 Master Plan TMP. including assigning an employee transportation coordinator, implementing an internal shuttle service, and working with Capital Bike Share to install a station adjacent to the campus at Gate 4. The traffic analysis conducted along with the updated TMP indicates the project will cause impacts to 11 intersections, 7 of which could be mitigated with signal timing adjustments. The analysis suggests additional measures to minimize these impacts, including signalization at the new gate entrance and additional turn lanes at affected intersections. Staff supports further study of the improvements outlined as mitigation measures in the report, which are recommended to be completed in conjunction with the Gate 6 garage project's first phase. Staff also requests continued coordination with the District Department of Transportation on these recommended transportation improvements. Currently, DHS operates shuttle routes from downtown DC at L'Enfant Plaza and the Anacostia Metro Station. It is anticipated that at full build-out, a minimum of 30% of employees will require access to these services. Staff recommends the Commission encourage continued coordination with WMATA to address long-term plans for shuttle access to St. Elizabeth's from area metro rail stations, including the nearby Anacostia and Congress Heights stations, with a projected increase in transit riders. The last area of focus is on landscape and tree replacement. The project goal is to use native and adapted plantings and restore tree canopy present on the campus historically. The planting concept includes ravine woodland, upland woodland, and meadow areas. 3 vegetated swales are proposed for stormwater management downhill on the west end of the site. The garage site includes extensive fill, and the applicant notes that the majority of the existing woodland cover is of marginal quality due to site disturbance over time. The site slope includes a mix of open field areas and wooded areas with a mixture of invasive species and poor condition trees. The project will remove 95 trees and add 191. Based on the applicant's initial calculation, the projected tree replacement will exceed the comprehensive plan policy standards. Staff requests the applicant provide additional information in the next submission on the species, size, and condition of the trees to be removed, and the tree replacement scores using the guidance in the comprehensive plan federal environment element. The conceptual plant palette includes native trees, shrubs, ground cover, and meadow species, with many that are beneficial to pollinators. Those marked CLR are included in the cultural landscape report for the St. Elizabeth's campus. The applicant addressed the public comments received regarding selected species by updating the conceptual plant palette, and notes the palette will be further developed in accordance with the cultural landscape report, NCPC's pollinator best practices resource guide, and other federal resources. Non-native species will not be specified for this project. Overall, staff recommends the Commission support the design's sensitivity to the historic campus context and efforts to minimize the visual impacts of the proposed garage through site design, screening, and integration into the landscape. With that, staff recommends the Commission approve the comments on the concept plans for the St. Elizabeth's West Campus Gate 6 garage and site development highlighted throughout my presentation and noted on the following slides. That concludes the presentation. Members of the applicant team from the General Services Administration, ZGF, and Olin are also available to answer any questions from the Commission. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Do any commissioners have any questions on this project?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
First, I'm going to go back to slide 36. That's the one that talks about shuttles, I think, and I wasn't clear on the kind of additional shuttles you'll create for employees, Congress Heights and at the metro station at Anacostia. 36. I think it was 36, maybe not.
Was it this one?
The one
I think it
that
was
speaks
probably,
to-
yeah,
spoke
this
about?
one spoke to it. I'll refer that to GSA to
Oh,
respond to.
okay.
You hit me with the one that's gonna say. We already have, DHS already runs shuttles from
Right.
those
Location.
locations. They obviously will be increased
Hmm.
when we have more occupants on the campus. The TMP is still in a draft phase, so we are still evaluating the recommendations, but we will continue to coordinate. And are you getting to that you'd like to see more or less? I think some of it is for anyone who's walked from either of these locations, there's a tremendous grade change
Yes.
trying to get there. And so the shuttle is needed for people that are not necessarily mobile. So while
Right.
it's a lovely walk, it's nice to get out. It isn't necessarily practical for all of the employees, but please tell me more about what you're thinking. I can make sure we include it.
So, many years ago, I did walk those many times, those distances. But I'm curious about the traffic flow. I live, as you know, about half a block
Mhm.
from the Anacostia Metro Station, and the traffic is horrendous.
Mhm.
So I think that there needs to be some awareness of the ease of flow of any
Yeah.
new vehicles that come in. I mean, the more fine, the better, because that would get people to work and help, so forth. But I think that needs to be looked at. The whole area really has to have a traffic, I think, analysis, because it's amazing. It's just unbelievably gridlocked at critical times, particularly.
Yeah, and again, I am not a traffic engineer. I think the move with relocating this from Gate 1 and Gate 2 off of MLK
Yes.
will help alleviate some of the traffic constraints in
Yeah.
Anacostia. However, we're still looking at, obviously, that just shifts it over to St. Elizabeth's Drive. So we're
Yeah.
looking at all the mitigation that is required.
Yeah,
We're
because
definitely cognizant of
it'd be
this.
great to put people in shuttles off the subway, but if they can't move,
Yeah.
then they're just sitting on in a shuttle.
Yeah.
The other point I wanted to raise was about, and I get the community access, if any, to the new structure that you're planning with the auditorium, et cetera, et cetera. Coast Guard has been very good historically in allowing the community to have, some control access to those facilities. Is that part of on our table or somebody else's table?
So that was a part of the Section 106 programmatic agreement for the redevelopment of the campus. Is we, through DHS, have committed to ongoing use of campus facilities for public access. The primary one that I believe DHS recommends for the public is the historic Hitchcock Hall,
Okay.
which is a large auditorium
Yes.
with a full sort of AV setup.
Yes.
But the Coast Guard, as you said, has shared. We also provide by appointment, although the area is a little unstable at the moment, access to the cemetery. And then we did we've lost a number of staff with agency realignment, did have a regular public tour program that we were providing, and we hope to get that back. We just need to sort of stabilize our staffing.
Yeah, I find that the Coast Guard, the facilities historically, a few more years back, was very solicitous and cooperative with the community and trying to make it useful. I'm not just saying this because the community needs a place to meet, which is always the case, but because it creates a relationship of neighboring nation relationship with the community, which is important. I also am concerned that we don't make sure we don't isolate it so much, even though we need it has to be protected.
Yeah.
And we'll work through that, but thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Seth?
Just a comment first. I just wanted to say fantastic design in terms of the inspiration for the architectural exterior is really impressive. With that said, it gives me pause for concern, I guess, for the aspect of putting the planters integrated into the exterior, because quite frankly, that's probably going to be one of the first things to get cut in a budget cut is going to be landscape support, and they usually are difficult to maintain. I would just offer as a thought, maybe look at something more artistic or something to give that same semblance, because the breakout to have so you don't have the fins across the whole facade. I think that's fantastic, but the live plants, I think, from a long-term sustainment is going to maybe problematic.
So, thank you, Commissioner. Are there any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
And this may be for GSA. I think you were starting to speak to the is the reason for not having plans for pedestrian pathways because of the grade? I saw that note in the staff report. Is that the main reason?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a tremendous, anyone that is familiar with this campus, the grade, the topo changes on this campus are huge. And it's not at all evident in a plan. So there is no way to have an accessible path up that hill. So we have taken it out, but also there's some budgetary constraints about that because it would take quite an effort. Phase two, as Ms. Shipman said, there will be a screening facility on the top that will then bridge over to get closer to grade. And it's a series of switchback walkways that would be accessible. Budget is always a problem with every project, but on this campus in particular, it really is. So that is why.
Are there any other questions for Laura, or I guess for GSA as well while we're here? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve comments on the concept plan for the St. Elizabeth's? Oh, yes, sir. Sorry. So moved. Great. You preempted me a little bit there, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll now open it up to the commission for discussion. I'll, I guess, start with Commissioner Tunstall Williams.
Thank you. Ms. Shipman covered this very, very well. And so thank you for the nice presentation. What I will say is this is a very critical piece of infrastructure for continued occupancy of the campus. We do have the headquarters for the ICE under construction right now. Formerly, this commission approved it as a headquarters for CISA. That has been rebranded and we're working through that, but it is currently under construction. The goal is to have this garage online in time for that occupancy. There are some appropriation concerns there. So if that doesn't happen, I've begun conversations with commission staff about a temporary lot that we may be able to accommodate some parking. So that will be back before this commission, just so that we have a stopgap. What I will say is we really appreciate our consulting parties, be it commission staff, but as well as our Section 106 consulting parties that do include members of the ANCs that are local. They don't always participate, but they do let us know. Because of this big change, based on the original design at Gate 1 was a beautiful design. ZGF also did that for us. We just frankly couldn't afford it. And so we do appreciate everyone thinking creatively and coming up with a solution that allows us to build in mass some infrastructure without impacting the National Historic Landmarks. So again, thank you very much. The other thing that I would like to address is the elephant in the room, the executive order that was released a week ago today related to classical architecture. So when we were designing this, obviously the design and submission predates that EO. There was a presidential memorandum that had similar language. At the time, we were thinking that this project would be exempt from that because of it's a utilitarian structure, back of house, not really a public building. And so our agency leadership said, go ahead, proceed. Now that we have the text, we will go back and look at it and see whether it applies. We'll work with our agency leadership and the White House as appropriate to see if any redesign is necessary for the facade articulation. That said, I don't see changes to the massing, the location, the site access. So it really would be the facade. So since we're at concept, I don't think we're at a great hindrance. Obviously, there's changes related to that and fee, but we'll work to make sure that we have addressed the EO correctly. And then I am joined with Toby Hasselgren from ZGF, the architects, and Hallie Boyce from Olin. They're a tremendous design team and they can answer any other questions that I can't.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Dixon?
Yeah, first of all, we've always welcomed the space that St. Elizabeth occupies in our neighborhood. It's been a real critical piece for us historically. A lot of employment came from it, from professional levels to all levels. We're hoping that will again occur. That has been some efforts by community people to try to make that happen, to hire some local people to be in to work there in some capacity. But we're glad to see it. I also hope that the gate will be as appealing as possible. And I know you'll work to do that, GSA. So with your restricted in basic budget.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I will just say, this is my second meeting with you, but your commitment to the Anacostia community and its residents is most admirable. And it's been impressive to witness for me personally. Commissioner Cash?
Thanks so much. I just want to associate myself with Commissioner Dixon's comments. It's very important to the community that we get it right. So I'll associate that. I also just want to say transportation in general down there around the St. Elizabeth site is very important, especially when we're talking about moving multiple employees around in buses. We have a lot of 2-lane roads that were 3 lanes that are now 2 lanes in front of a brand new hospital down there. A lot of congestion that's already congested, even under the better bus network. So I think that making sure we have transportation moving down there around one of our biggest national security fortresses down there is really something important because we don't want them hindered by a traffic jam. So the more we can get people on these mass transit things, the clearer we can keep those roads and the important functions they serve.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Henderson?
I just was glad to hear that this is going to be reviewed in light of the new EO from last week. That was my only comment or question.
Is it Commissioner McGowan?
Yes.
Sorry.
I don't have any additional comments at the time, but thank you for the presentation and the hard work from everyone involved.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Cozart?
Also appreciate the staff for the analysis and the presentation, and the additional context was really helpful as well.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Stidham?
Thank you very much for the presentation and the additional context. That is very helpful. I think building into the hillside is great. I think it's a wonderful way to provide the massing that you need while protecting the important views of the landscape, and also to commend GSA on this project overall, as you have worked through a lot of challenges on this cultural landscape and making it a place for the DHS headquarters. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Argo? Oh,
Yes.
sorry.
That's all right, Heather. I appreciate all and I'd like to associate myself with I would say all the comments that I've heard prior to this. This is it's an exciting project for this neighborhood, and the work and the attention that we're giving to it and getting it right is really important. So thanks for everyone's work on this.
Thank you, Commissioner. Vice Chairman Levenbach?
I'm impressed at all the thought that has gone into the garage, and it looks like it's a well-designed project. I appreciate the point on the executive order and the importance of classical architecture. I know it's important to the president, and I appreciate you noting that. And last, another comment from Commissioner Schaefer was really interesting about the planners being from an OMB and understanding the vagaries of the budget process. I think it's important to think about just how the vegetation gets maintained over time, and well intentions without support from the budget process might not necessarily lead to the outcomes that we think we're going to get.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Levenbach. Chairman Blair, I don't think is with us. Speaking for myself, with respect to the exterior vegetation, my window boxes in St. Louis, Missouri look absolutely terrible after 9 months of neglect. So I hear that point and respect it. I think while the original master plan with the subgrade parking garage, I guess at Gate 1, I think in many respects it obviously would have looked nicer, but given the constraints that we face and given the constraints that have caused the shift to this plan, I think I'd like to just commend GSA, DHS, everybody involved for coming up with, I think, what looks to be a suitable structure that won't have, deleterious effect on sight lines and on the region, really. I'd also like to thank staff for obviously the hard work that went into the presentation today and with review of this plan so far. With respect to the executive order and the constraints that it imposes on federal departments and agencies, I would just note that since we're at the concept stage here, I think if changes are needed, we have time to get those right. But in the meantime, I just would like to commend everybody who's been involved in this project with the thoughtful design and the thoughtful presentation today. Are there any further comments or questions before we move to a vote? Well, in that case, we have a motion on the table. Can our acting secretary please confirm the motion in the second and take the vote by roll call?
Yes, the motion was made by Commissioner Dixon and seconded by Commissioner Stidham. And with that, Commissioner Cozart?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Stidham?
Yes.
Commissioner Argo?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Levenbach?
Yes.
Chairman Scharf?
Yes.
Commissioner Tunstall Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Dixon?
Yes.
Commissioner Cash,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner McGowan.
Yes.
Thank you. This motion has carried unanimously. Next, we'll move on to agenda item 7B, which is a request to approve final building plans for the Capital One Arena. And we have Jamie Herb with us today.
Good afternoon, Chairman and Commissioners. The District of Columbia Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development, along with Monumental Sports and Entertainment and their design team, have submitted the final building plans for the Capital One Arena Improvements Project for review and approval by the Commission. Overall, the applicant has made improvements to the design based on Commission feedback at the preliminary review in July, and staff recommends the Commission approve the final building plans. The applicant initiated the project with staff consultation in December and then gave an information presentation to the Commission at the February Commission meeting. The Commission then provided feedback on the concept design at the May meeting and approved the preliminary design in July with comments. NCPC staff and the applicant initiated the Section 106 process in February and held consultation meetings in March, April, and May, and the memorandum of agreement was signed in August. Today, the Commission is reviewing for approval the final building plans. As a reminder for the final review stage, the Commission is focused on topics such as if the comments provided during the preliminary review were adequately addressed, signage and lighting details, and ensuring confidence that the plans will not substantially change. The applicant has indicated that their goals and objectives for the project are to transform the arena with a unified identity to extend the functional life. They intend to improve access and circulation, improve building materials, transparency, and activation with the goal of being a catalyst for area renewal. Staff supports the project objectives to extend the functional life of the arena and reinforce its urban presence within downtown Washington, D.C. by improving access, enhancing wayfinding and the arrival experience, enlivening the arena exterior to make it a must-see building for residents and visitors, and activating the arena as an entertainment venue in the heart of the city. Capital One Arena is located on the block bounded by 6th Street on the east and 7th Street on the west, F Street on the south, and Gallery Place Way to the north. The arena is located in the middle of downtown, surrounded by significant National Historic Landmarks, or NHLs, including the Patent Office, now the Donald W. Reynolds Center for American Art and Portraiture, also known as the Reynolds Center, the General Post Office, now called Hotel Monaco, and the Pension Building, which is now the National Building Museum. As I noted, the Reynolds Center, originally the Patent Office building, which is a National Historic Landmark and considered one of the most significant buildings in Washington, D.C., is immediately adjacent to Capital One Arena. The Section 106 process has been evaluating the impact of the updated design on this and other historic buildings, and the memorandum of agreement that formalizes the mitigation for these impacts from the project was fully executed on August 25th. As such, staff commends the applicant for their continued coordination and support of the memorandum of agreement as part of the National Historic Preservation Act Section 106 process. The existing building, opened in 1997, was designed to appear as a series of separate facades to break up the building massing. The primary corner at 7th and F Street includes a large corner digital display, and the main entry on 7th Street is demarcated by a large awning. The applicant has made several changes since the preliminary review in July, including updating the metal elements on 6th Street to mimic the extension of the veil, providing additional lighting details and visualizations, updating one of the materials on Gallery Place Way, and completing the Section 106 MOA. Now I will review these design changes, with a focus on what changed since July. The final design includes the veil, updated building materials, updated signage, and a new main entry. As noted, the final building design of the west and south facades shown here has not changed since preliminary review. However, for the final review, the applicant has updated the metal framing elements on 6th Street to mimic the internal framing of the veil. In addition, the applicant updated the facade material on Gallery Place Way, which is similar to the previous material but more durable. The applicant is continuing to propose improvements to the entrance to the metro station at 7th and F Streets, including widening the entrances and pulling the corner out as architectural wayfinding. The applicant has been coordinating with WMATA on this change, and staff requests the applicant continue to coordinate with WMATA regarding the proposed Metro Rail Station entrance changes. The applicant has included renderings of the final design, and I will focus on changes or updates since the prior review. This is the existing building at the corner of F and 7th Streets. And this is the final design, which is unchanged since the preliminary. However, the applicant has submitted at the request of the commission additional renderings to demonstrate the lighting of the Vale. This view shows the building and the Vale at night. And this view shows the Vale illuminated in 2 colors based on different teams or events at night. The overall brightness and hours of illumination are limited by the MOA. In this view at the corner of 6th and F Streets is the previous iteration of the 6th Street design. The applicant indicated at the preliminary review that it was infeasible to fully extend the Vale up 6th Street and instead proposed this vertical metal treatment. The commission requested the applicant continue to evaluate the metal treatment to better represent the extension of the Vale. In the updated view, you can see the vertical metal frames have been modified to align their shape with the internal structure of the Vale, and there are new angled metal elements that mimic the movement of the Vale. This view also shows that the metal elements will be separately illuminated. Moving up 6th Street, you can see the previously proposed vertical metal elements. In the proposed view, you can see the updated metal elements that better emulate the internal structure and movement of the Vale. Here is the same view at night with the proposed metal frames illuminated. This is another angle on 6th Street looking south with the metal frames visible, where you can see the shape is the same as the terminus of the Vale. Moving over to 7th Street, this is the existing building view. And this is the updated view. The design of 7th Street has not changed since the preliminary, but the applicant has updated the wood look material on Gallery Place to a more durable material that is similar in color. This is the existing Gallery Place Way view. And this is the proposed design with the wood colored material updated on the facade. For your reference, I have also included here the other views of the building that have not changed since preliminary review. This is F Street that includes the Vale, digital displays, the relocated main entry, and teen history wall. And this is 7th Street, which has also not changed and includes the Vale, digital signage, pedestrian level art niches, and new glazing. This is the final design at the corner of 7th and F Street. Since the beginning of the commission's review in February, the applicant has modified the Vale, signage, lighting, materials, and street level experience to meet the project goals and the recommendations of the commission. Overall, staff supports the design changes made to date, especially the modifications to the Vale, the new facade treatments on 6th Street, the updated lighting details, the removal of the digital banner, and the integration of the digital screens into the facade. Moving forward, staff encourages Monumental Sports and Entertainment to continue collaborating with the district regarding opportunities to enhance the surrounding streetscape and improve the public realm to support both the arena as well as the neighborhood as a whole. In conclusion, staff appreciates the responsiveness of the applicant team and coordination with staff to address the commission's comments and recommendations, and recommends the commission approve the final site and building plans for the Capital One Arena Improvements Project at 601 F Street Northwest in Washington, D.C. This concludes my presentation. I have incorporated the recommendations into the presentation, but they are also listed here for your reference. I am available to answer any questions, and the applicant and their design team are also here for any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jamie. Do any commissioners have any questions for Jamie, or I guess for Monumental Sports and the applicant team? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
So move.
Do we have a second?
I'll say.
Okay, do any commissioners have any comments while we have this motion on the floor? We'll start with Commissioner Kozar.
Thank you, Chairman. So just want to thank the staff for the presentation and the ongoing work on this incredibly complex project, but highly important project as well. I think it's timely that the commission is looking at this because just today the mayor was announcing a number of different ways to celebrate sports, entertainment, and culture in the month of September in this very location. And so we know it's such a really great opportunity that we have here. It's great to be on this commission where we have a chance to help to influence that. So just really want to appreciate the work that's gone forward and the ways that we've been able to give ideas, give and take some ideas, and really proud of the product that we have today. So very, very excited about moving this forward.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Schaefer?
This is exciting. It's tremendous work that's been done here, and I applaud the architects, the entire team, the responsiveness, taking all the comments that have been provided to you, and the expediency as to which you've engaged on that. Absolutely, I think this is going to be a jewel downtown. I really do, and really excited to see this come out of the ground. So thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Stidham?
It's out of the ground already. Yeah. Talking about the project.
Where I have to say the design has come a long way, and I think you've actually sold me on the Val. I think that you have refined it in such a way that the materiality on the walls of the building, the texture of that material with the veil and the screen have brought it all together. The only place where it's just like feels like it needs a slightly more work is that transition from the Vale to the Fins on 6th Street. It seems like a very abrupt end to the Vale. So finessing that integration from the Vale to the Fins just needs a little bit more coaxing, and I think it would be gorgeous. I think it's going to be gorgeous anyway, but just that little piece would be great. So, and anyway, congratulations to the team. I think you've taken this a long way. You've listened, which is key to any of this work, is to listen, take it in, and make changes based on that. And I think you've done a very good job. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Argo?
Well, I think I'd like to associate myself with the comments that we've heard, and just I mean, this is going to be an iconic building, and to have, and I'm just so glad that we've taken our time and paid attention, great attention to so many of the features. It will be a standout, iconic building in a number of ways. So appreciate the time and the attention and the responsiveness of the team in their design to the concerns and the points that the commission has made throughout this approval process. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Argo. Vice Chairman Levenbach?
I have no comments.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Levenbach. Commissioner Blair is not with us. Commissioner Tunstall-Williams?
Thank you. I think I said this last time, but again, thank you all for, as my other commissioners have said, your openness and willingness to respond. I think you have gotten it right. And I was so focused on the Vale previously that I didn't notice the great improvement on, I think it's G Street, the north entry there between Clyde's and this, removing all those little lights and the little stands, just really opening that up is a massive improvement. And I hadn't caught it until this version. So didn't want that to go unsaid. I also, again, want to commend Monument on your Section 106 agreements and what you're willing to do for the Portrait Gallery and the surrounding neighborhood. That really says a lot about your commitment to the community. And I think not only your building, but the building around it will be better for it. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Dixon?
Yes. First, again, I'll join all the comments in support of the fine effort. I have a couple of things I would just add. I'm not sure it's still there, but there was some recognition in the earlier designs, historical designs of Chinatown. And I'm not sure whether there's going to be any flavor at all near Chinatown to show some respect for their presence in that area, as long as it lasts, which I hope it will. The other thing I want to get back to Commissioner Kozak, I'm very excited about this movement that the mayor is making with sports and athletic. I hope that they can create a good compilation of the star athletes that came out of this community, because there are a lot of them. One I will particularly point out to is a guy named Lenny Ford, who played as one of the first Black football players for the Cleveland Browns. I happen to be concerned about that because he lived 2 doors down across the street from my apartment in Southeast Anacostia.
I knew there was gonna be an Anacostia.
But Lenny Ford and his brother Claude Ford helped architect the UDC building. But anyway, that's my input. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Cash?
Thanks so much. I'll make some comments. I'm always just heartened by the story that Ms. Har told towards the beginning, how this commission actually recommended that we make this building look like a bunch of smaller buildings because that would be better for the neighborhood and more in line. And it just shows how wrong we could sometimes get it 30 years later. And it makes you wonder what people will be saying about our decisions 30 years from now. But I do want to say that I think on this design, we've really gotten a lot of stuff right on here. I remember Ms. Dixon was actually sitting down in Chairman Mendelson's office one day and showed us some of the super early designs. The first thing I said was, you really just start talking to the NCPC because they're going to probably have a lot of thoughts on this Vale thing. And I think that we've worked through it pretty well. And I think that it's been a really good result on the end. So thanks to the team for all their effort on this.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Henderson? Thank you, Commissioner. And Commissioner McGowan?
I don't have any additional comments. Thank you, staff, for the presentation, and it's been great to see the project develop throughout the review process with the commission. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Speaking personally, I just want to thank the District of Columbia Mayor's Office, or I guess Deputy Mayor's Office, and Monumental Sports, as well as our staff for all the hard work that went into this. Getting an urban arena right is really, really difficult, and those problems are compounded when you're building, across the street from the National Portrait Gallery, when you're building in one of the most historic districts in the country. I think when you look at this final plan, particularly when you look at the renders of the existing streetscape on 6th and 7th, for instance, and what we have to look forward to in the future, this is going to be a massive improvement to the downtown core of DC. And it goes without saying that having a truly top-tier professional sports arena in DC will have tremendous value for the community, both in terms of sporting events and beyond. So I'd like to thank our staff for their careful review at every stage of the process here. I think it's pretty incredible that a project of this size has moved through from concept to final approval in 4 months, with August in the middle. And I, for one, am just really excited to see this project get up and running, and hopefully the Vale will be as beautiful as we all now seem to think it will be. But thank you to everybody involved, and I look forward to seeing this take shape.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Make a comment, not necessary, but I want to let you all know that my company put the seats into this arena. That's not what we do primarily, but it's a management thing that you do. But we install all the seats in this arena. That was ADA Inc., my company. So anyhow, when you sit down, you can think of us.
Thank you. Thank you for disclosing that. Thank you for disclosing that seemingly irretrievable conflict of interest, sir. And with that, are there any further questions or comments?
I was not on the committee.
If there are no further questions or comments, could our acting secretary please confirm the motion in the second and take the vote by roll call?
Yes, the motion was made by Commissioner Dixon and seconded by Commissioner Schaefer. And with that, Commissioner Kozar?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Stidham? Commissioner Argo?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Levenbach?
Yes.
Chairman Scharf?
Yes.
Commissioner Tunstall Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Dixon?
Yes, and by the way, I was not on the committee when this was done, but that just shows you how far back things happen.
Sir.
Commissioner Cash?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
And Commissioner McGowan?
Yes.
That motion has carried unanimously. That's the last item on our formal agenda for today. Do any other commissioners have any comments or questions before we adjourn?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Welcome to, I think, our first in-person
meeting.
Right?
You were a disembodied head last time, sir, and it's great to have you here in person. As I said during my chairman's report, I'll be circulating a proposed letter to Chairman Powell of the Fed. My hope would be to get that out to them before the weekend. But if there's nothing further, that concludes our open session agenda for today. Our next regular commission meeting, as we set at the start of this meeting, will be on Thursday, October 9th at 1 p.m. And if there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.